that mama bear protective energy. So I think that's what it's saying. It's like you'll kind of know when to act on it. Like if somebody asks you, you'll kind of be able again to trust in that of like, does it feel uneasy and agitating, or do I feel like that inner knowing of like I need to jump in and defend this and do something about this?
It really feels like you're describing like the boy who cried wolf thing. So like it's
Ooh.
like, okay, we hear all these people all the time like whine, 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 like cry, cry, cry. But when someone actually needs help, you're just gonna know.
Thank you. That's badass. That also goes into what we were saying about the news. Like maybe there's a lot of shock effect in the news that day, a lot of like fear mongering, kind of like what happened with this stupid phone alarm thing. Like maybe there's a
God.
lot of that going on, and you have to, because again, I keep saying like all this shit in Pisces, we can't fucking trust anything. The only thing you can trust
Wow.
is yourself, your intuition, your personal connection with spirit. So it's like you might see all this shit out there on TikTok and on social media and on the news, and your friends might be calling you and everybody might be freaking out. And you have to really just say, like, guys, shut the fuck up. I'll know what to do and when to do it. Like, if the world's gonna end tomorrow, I'll fucking know, okay?
I'm going to bed. Hey, witches, it's Sacred Rebels.
Hey guys, if you are new here, it's nice to meet you. My name is Erika Lane, and I'm a spiritual coach who also reads astrological and human design charts. I'm also a Reiki master, a psychic medium, and I read tarot.
And I'm Claire, a psychic medium, spiritual life coach that does tarot, house cleanses, astrology, and I'm also a Reiki master.
So yeah, welcome to our week ahead podcast where we go over the astrology, human design, and tarot for the upcoming week ahead.
All
So,
right.
so I guess to recap quickly over last week, I'm gonna say that if I had to pick the main thing I think that came up would be probably still that Mars square Pluto, which is hyping up over the weekend. So I feel like we're recording this on Friday, so we're probably kind of just now starting to like feel it, but I feel like that's probably the big moment of last week.
So we don't know yet. That's what that means.
I guess what do we know?
I think that I want to say just about last week, the first thing is that I felt like I had a hangover from that full moon for the good majority of it. And I definitely know and feel the shifts out of like retrograde shadows.
Okay, yep. No, that makes a lot of sense. I feel like I really felt that moon in Gemini as well, like
Oh my
just
God,
kind
yeah.
of all over the place, scatterbrained. Yeah, but
We
then
were on
also
a
too.
Zoom. We were on a Zoom for 3 hours that day and we got nothing done.
Yep, literally, yeah. That's the kind of energy. And my daughter's a Gemini moon, so she was not
Distracting us.
helpful. Not helpful. There was like literally one point where she was sitting next to me. I don't even know if you knew this, Claire, but she was like sitting next to me and you were talking to me about something. I'm really trying to pay attention to you. And she literally just kept like tapping on my shoulder, like really fast. Like and not saying anything because she didn't want to interrupt, but she was like physically trying to interrupt.
Wow.
So yeah, that's Gemini moon for you guys.
Yeah, the moon's been potent lately.
For
What
sure.
are we in right now?
So right now it is Cancer. Yeah, so that's right. We're going through the Cancer moon thing as the whole Mars square Pluto thing starts, and we're
so talk about the Mars squares Pluto thing real quick, just so we can. I'm sorry if that.
No, that's fine. That actually is a great segue because we're still going to be feeling it on Monday, so that's a great kind of like transition. So Mars is the planet of passion, anger, war, sex, drive, motivation. And Pluto is the planet of also power, also anger. Like Mars and Pluto have some similarities, but Pluto is more of a rebirth, of a transformation, of a digging deep into the layers and the psychology and the shadows and facing those things, right? So it's like that's where it kind of has that similarity between Mars, where it's like we're doing the thing, we're transforming, we're like, you know, we're doing it. When these two square off, we think of a square aspect, same thing. That's like tension and frustration. And then we add in the signs to all of this. So Pluto, where all that shadow work is going on, that has been obviously working on crumbling these old things in society that are no longer working. So this is like, you know, rules that don't make sense anymore, traditions that don't make sense anymore, laws, hierarchies, systems, time, you know, rules, all those types of things. And then Mars, where it's at in Libra, is all about like I want to say not being like not letting those societal expectations stop you from taking action, stop you from doing the Mars oriented things, because again, you know, it's like debilitated in Libra. So it's like it wants to take action. That square is going to add even more frustration to it. But then at the same time, it could fall into that tendency to be like, well, what will people think? And how could this affect others? And what's like, but you could also go into the higher perspective of looking at it like what's balanced, what's fair, you know, and be taking action in those types of ways. So yeah, I feel like it's big also because Mars is ruled by the North Node right now. It's right on top of the South Node. Pluto wants transformation, so that shedding rebirth process is really highlighted here.
There is I think it was in the Quietest Revolution video that I think it was just like October eclipse season it was labeled or whatever. Go watch it. It was amazing. She is a fucking whatever. Amazing. But one of the big things with this, it really felt like it was saying that these are all things that you've known that you've needed to change for quite a while. Like this fucking Pluto transit's been like 15 years, right?
2008, since 2008.
Excuse me.
When the
Oh my God.
And that's why I like comparing it to societal shit too.
Wow.
I like what you just said, and then put that in the context of, hey, 2008, remember that big
When the
financial
recession.
crisis we had? Yeah. Like, did you start thinking about what you wanted to do at that time? Or are you still trying to work for the man? Are you still trying to, you know, be that cog in the wheel? Or did you, you know, throughout this whole shedding process of Pluto through Capricorn, should have been teaching you, what is my hierarchy? What are my values? What do I want to be building the mountain of success? Like, fuck working for these other guys, you know, fuck following these traditions and these rules and these societal expectations.
Yeah.
Which is like, then once Pluto transits into Aquarius, that's why it's saying like you know you should have been doing this shit, because once Pluto goes into Aquarius, it's like, all right, full-fledged ahead, like all of humanity is transforming. Where the fuck are you? Are you left behind? You know, like we're moving ahead, we're moving into the future now.
Yep.
So, and I also wanted to point out with that too, that I went and looked, the last time that Mars squared Pluto was when Mars was in Aries, July of 2022. So this was before the node shifted, right? So it wasn't even as powerful at that point. But looking at the news on that day, that was when we had all of these abortion ban things starting with the protests. That was when we appointed our first female Black Supreme Court justice. And at the same time as she was being appointed, other Supreme Court judges, the more Republican side of things, were putting more restrictions on our abilities to monitor greenhouse gases and make a change in the environment, right? So we can kind of see like these little hints, I guess, at this struggle of war kind of taking place between the old way and the new way. And this one coming up here this weekend is like intensifying that like even more. Like, what are we going to do here?
What was the date of that in 2022?
It was July feel like I saved it when I looked at it. It was
Oh,
July, like around the beginning of July of 2022.
okay.
So yeah, big stuff. I'm excited to see how that's
Yeah,
going to play out.
So that's a part of Monday.
Yes.
Ah. So yeah, what else is going on Monday? It would be Monday the
The
9th.
11th.
Oh, what?
Wait, what? You're right. I
This
must
is
have did
October.
something wrong.
Yeah.
I did it wrong. I didn't go back. Aha. Okay. So yeah, October 9th, Monday. So the moon is still in Leo at this point, and it makes a trine to Chiron and then the North Node. So that's what's going on with the moon. It's kind of making us emotionally feel out that Leo energy of that Venus retrograde, having us emotionally feel out these identity wounds, again, having us emotionally feel out where we want to go with that, like what is in alignment with what we feel is our true identity, more fire identity, know yourself type energy, and how you are healing and how you are taking action going forward. That's one thing that I guess I've been really contemplating with all of this going on as well, is like how long do I want to stay in this state of like I'm healing, I'm working, I'm trying, I'm doing all this, versus like what I'm actually like doing, like taking initiative on, and that fire energy. You want to take action with that.
Go and flow. You just gotta flow sometimes, man. So I wanted to point out that on Monday, because it's Sunday, it looks like at about 9-ish p.m. or whatever, is when Venus moves into Virgo. So Monday, we have the first full day of finally being out of Leo. But we have that moon, so we're going to be processing those emotions. Leo is loud. Leo likes to be the center of attention when it comes to the emotions. Libra, however, doesn't like to cause a ripple.
Cause a
So
scene. Yeah,
it's going to be a very inwardy feel.
I think emotional expression would be good for Monday, you know, like whether like however that looks for you, like some way to kind of express your
just saw
emotion.
painting.
Yeah, painting, writing, singing, dancing, playing, like all these kind of Leo traits that you can get into, because so I have that written down too, that Venus is now in Virgo. As soon as Venus moves into Virgo, however, it's opposing Saturn in Pisces. So this can give you kind of like this restriction kind of feeling of like, because remember, Venus has also been in its shadow phase too, all the way back through Leo again. So now that it's like in Virgo, it's also fully out of shadow. And it's like, I feel like it's like kind of like, I know what I want. Now I need to like come up with the plan to get what I want, right? Like I need to be a little bit more strict and look at my responsibilities, and like these responsibilities are coming from a higher place, so it's still got that like spiritual feel to it, like I'm called to this, I'm like this is my purpose, and now I really need to get clear about like how I'm going to do this, like how I'm going to come forward, how I'm going to embody these things that I realized about myself, while the moon's going through Leo, giving you the ability to express it, right?
So I have a question, because there's a part of me, and I think it's becoming more apparent, whatever, of whatever. Okay. The laziness factor that is wanting to come into play. I feel like on Monday, because of maybe the opposition to Saturn, that there is a like, I deserve a break. You know?
Well, that goes into again these higher lower expressions, because like for me when I look at it, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna feel really motivated on that day because like Mars square Pluto, Venus opposed Saturn's like responsibilities and like these higher callings and stuff like that. But I can see where you're coming from, where that might feel like so much pressure that you're just like, ah, fuck that,
Mhm.
like I'm not gonna
Well, a
do that.
lot of
And
it
then you could
is,
escape. You could escape.
yeah, yes.
But a lot of it is what?
I was just gonna say probably that I just realized my Venus is in Pisces, so that is the opposite. Like everything is, it is a lot. So
But that's cool because that means that you're going to be looking at your like what you value from the opposite
the
direction,
whole,
so you're going to be able to see it a little bit more clearly.
thank
And I
God.
think that that's kind of actually what this is. It's you seeing it more clearly, so like you're able to kind of emotionally process these things. I'm also seeing it as like creativity coming together with this logic plan. Like I've got the creativity. Venus retrograde, thanks for that. High five to you. But now Virgo comes in. It's like, let's fucking come up with a plan for this. Like, yeah, you've got this great idea. Now let's make like a fucking spreadsheet or a graph chart or like a schedule like I did, right? Like, let's come up with like some kind of thing that's gonna help you actually like stick to this.
Okay. Yeah, Venus and
And
Virgo has to be very fucking productive. Like when I have clients that have Venus and Virgo, I always go to them immediately like, okay, you definitely have a list in your head of what you want as the perfect partner, what you want as the perfect job, what you want as how you make your money and like what that means in the long run. Like that is them having their shit together. Venus and Pisces does not have their shit together. We're like, this feels good right now.
oh, too, it's kind of like Venus and Virgo is also about the value of the details.
Yeah.
Venus in Pisces, is like the value of just like the woo woo of it all, right? So that comes together with Virgo, and Virgo's like, yo, that's a great idea. Like I can really feel connected spiritually with that, but like, how are you gonna do it? Like, let's
Yep.
practically get clear about this. Yeah, yeah. So I love that
Oh,
actually. I think
yeah.
it's like
It's gonna be good, but yeah, a little challenge.
you can either surfboard ride this pressure or succumb to it. That's your
Mm,
option for Monday. What you gonna
yep.
do? You gonna allow it to motivate you, or are you gonna crumble under the pressure? Okay,
And
so
crumbling doesn't have to be a bad thing. I have to say that. That's why I felt like, oh, maybe I need a break. Like that could be you, whoa, there's a lot to do. Let's fucking take a day off and process through it. Whatever. Doesn't have to be a
yeah,
bad thing.
agreed. Yeah. Yeah, you got to use your intuition, kind of figure out like it's kind of like that in the moment what I need.
Yes. Yep.
And the mutable energy of Virgo also is like the reason why you're structuring something is to allow you to go with the flow better. That's where Virgo can kind of take it
Yes.
too far to that extreme. It's like, yeah, the details are important, but you can't over detail things, and then you're constricting yourself. Then you're like strangling the value out of it, the
Yeah.
beauty out of it.
It's not fun anymore. Yep.
Yeah, there you go. That should be like a keyword for Virgo. It's not fun anymore.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny. I found a video the other day, where I was talking about something and it was Virgo energy, and I was like, oh, what a vibe killer.
Yeah, but see, that's why all these signs work together. Virgo can take
Yeah.
what Leo did and make it more practical, or it can just strangle all the creativity and fun out of it. You know?
Ooh. Yep.
Okay, so Tuesday, October 10th. So now the moon enters Virgo and conjuncts Venus as it's still opposing Saturn. So now, after we felt out that Leo energy again for ooh, let's just really feel this out one more time. Now we're really feeling
Time to
into
get to
that,
work.
like, yes, yes. The work, by the way, guys, when we say work, like I love how Claire said it's not a bad thing, right? Because work in this context means you embodying your spiritual principles. So like if your spiritual principle is that like you really believe in fairness, then this is like, how am I going to embody that? Or if you really believe in like, I mean, it could even be like social causes. Because I also think of like Pisces as in like the shadow of society, right? So it's like you might realize like there's so many starving people out there. Okay, how are you embodying being a light for that then? What are you doing? You know, like that's kind of this duality as well.
Yeah.
And then as that's going on, the sun starts its tighter opposition to Chiron. So now we're really shining a light on that identity wound pain, that shadow of agitation, that gift of initiation, you know, like taking action on things that have been agitating you. Yeah. Do you have anything else to say about that whole agitation thing? Like, have you as an Aries moon, I've just been wondering, like, how your emotions deal with agitation. Like, how does that feel inside of you?
So I believe, because this is hilarious. This is what came to my mind. I am agitated all the time. I am constantly like, like all the time, I feel like. But I guess one of the best ways to describe it, and I think it's because of my Pisces energy, whatever, Venus and Mars and Pisces. I like, for example, like if I'm standing in line at, okay, where was I? It was at Aldi. I was at Aldi the other day. And there was this person that was like, this guy only has one thing. He can go ahead of me. And then they like looked at me, but I already had all of my stuff on the fucking thing. And she like had one thing in her hand already. And I was just like, I imagined his head exploding.
Okay, that's it. That's interesting because I'm hearing you say it's like more of like an in the moment thing as to where my head's kind of been feeling like it's like those things that you kind of I just saw this somewhere. Oh yeah, it was a friend of mine on Facebook. She posted this thing that said like when you get this emotion about something, like let's say it's anger, you're like, I'm really angry about this, and then you're like, this is silly, like why am I so angry about this thing? Like I shouldn't be angry about that. But really, like behind the scenes, it's actually like a compilation of that same little moment happening over and over and over and over again. And that's why it's agitating, because you're not only feeling it in the moment, you're feeling like all
So
the
many
hundreds
different
of times.
versions of it. Yeah. Yes,
So then
yes,
I
yes.
think that the initiation part of it is like you got to really figure out what the root of like why this is like. It's almost, I feel like it's like that thing that kind of just eats at you.
Yeah.
You know, like what's the root of that so you can really cut it off, you know? Like
A lot of it is, for me lately, is tied to my worth. So a lot of things, like in that moment where it was, like a fucking older white male, like totally didn't give, like, just that vibe. And there was a part of me where I wanted to be like, oh, okay, yes, go ahead. Oh, yeah, like, and I'm like, no, I don't fucking want him anymore. I'm already, I'm already here. Fuck off, you know? So that's why the creativity in me, the Pisces, I think, just is like, well, let's make this fun and entertaining and imagine his head exploding and then just turn around and pretend he's not there.
ooh, do you feel like that released it for you in that
Oh, yeah,
moment?
100%. Yes.
Yeah, because I would say similar for me. It's been more me trying to like execute a plan, but it is kind of that same feeling of like, oh, this has been pissing me off for so long. Like, I need to sit down and freaking change this, like, for good, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it is a lot of same things within me too, like realizing, like, oh, I don't do that because deep down inside, I'm feeling this way, even though I'm trying to pretend I don't, you know, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so and I think too, by the way, the opposite of that is unease in the other side of things. So I think that's also in the moment. Like when you feel uneasy in the moment, it is agitating. You know, more of that happens, and you like continue to ignore your intuition. It's just going to get more and more agitating. So also on Tuesday in the evening, Pluto comes out of retrograde.
Oh, fuck yeah. I didn't know that was happening.
What but day? It's still as like Mars is squaring it, right? So like Tuesday. So think about this, guys. As Pluto in retrograde, it's that internal shadow work that, you know, oh, I'm done thinking like this. I'm done believing this. I'm done talking like that. Like I'm done having, like, you know, beating myself up like this, whatever it might be. But when it goes direct, it's like, again, action, like doing something about it, transforming your outer reality. Yeah.
Nut up or shut up. I said it backwards.
Nut up or shut up.
Zombieland.
Yeah,
man.
so.
All right, that happens at 9 p.m. Okay, so the excitement of that, I have to go into that for a second. Scorpio energy, Capricorn energy, Saturn energy. We have been in that like restriction, pressure, and now finally we get to go forward. Finally, the change is going to start happening. Yeah, I'm fucking excited.
You're gonna like start seeing the results of some of this inner transformation you've been doing, right?
Yeah.
Very cool. I agree. Okay. Okay, so Wednesday, October 11th, the moon is still in Virgo and it's making a trine to Jupiter. All right. I got something good to say about this because I was actually thinking about this last night and I was going to make a post and I never did, so it must be for a reason. You know, Jupiter in Taurus, thinking about abundance and manifestation, thinking about all the things I say about Taurus representing form, making things into material reality. That's why I love Jupiter in Taurus, because it's like this, anything is materially abundant. And even with Uranus there, it's like we can also get innovative, you know, like we can imagine new things and go in new directions and stuff. One thing I've noticed I've been doing that I didn't realize until last night is that a good way to really tap into this Jupiter energy here is to get physical, right? So like I have made a music playlist of all these songs that make me feel like I'm confident, like I'm in my bad bitch mode, you know, and I listen to that playlist when I'm needing to like get my head in the game. Or I light an incense, or I light a cinnamon candle that, you know, really like ignites my flame, you know, kind of thing. And I do all these physical things around me to get me in that abundance mindset. And that, I think, is Jupiter and Taurus.
Wow, yeah. To feel it, yeah.
To embody it as well, right? Like that's why I've been coming up with like, oh, this is like this character, and instead of being in that whole like, oh, I'm healing and I'm working on it and I'm trying to like, no, how about I just say I am it until I really start to believe it, you know? And how better to say I am it than to physically make me feel like I am it, you know, however I can.
That really, like, okay. And I know we're coming to the end of this energy because of the full moon on October 28th in Taurus, super lunar eclipse, all that. But that fully describes my whole last year and a half with the North Node in Taurus for me. I was all like, I am this bitch. And I showed up and I was, and dude, the amount of lucky things that was happening, the amount of things that was going on, like, it was fucking amazing.
Yeah, see, I mean, there's something to it. And that's
Mhm.
cool too, because we were looking at these Taurus energies with the North Node there. We still had Uranus there, but Jupiter, Jupiter kind of came in later in the game. It was in Aries for a while. So like, I don't know. Yeah, I think that's like, hey, you kind of acquired some tools throughout that. Like now, if you really learn how to apply it, you're gonna have a lot of luck and abundance from that.
Woo! Yeah. And
Very
good for me too, because my fucking Jupiter is in Capricorn, and now the Capricorn energy is finally set free.
fuck yeah, dude, exactly. And again, the moon in Virgo trying Jupiter on Wednesday. It's like, where's that plan? Like think grounding, think
Okay.
material, think physical, think practical.
Hmm.
And then in the evening, Mars enters Scorpio and makes a trine to Saturn
Oh.
and Pisces. So now we get a
Oh my
nicer
God,
aspect.
Mars is getting out of Libra. Ah! I just needed
But
to do
Mars
that
in
for a second.
Mars and Scorpio, like back to again,
Don't
just
care.
like major fucking transformations too, like the action behind it. Like,
I do care. I have a lot of Taurus. Fuck. Okay. But it's not on top of my moon anymore. That has been a lot lately. I'm talking about myself. Okay. So
no,
Mars and
that's
Scorpio.
Mars and Scorpio is ready to dig in, is ready to get
Mhm.
deep, is ready to fucking go there, ready to face the monster, ready to go into
It's
the
the
dark.
golem.
Ooh, good. Yeah. Yeah, it's like, where's my fucking precious? I'll go
Mhm.
anywhere. I'll fucking do. Like, I'll let my body waste away if I have to. I won't find that thing.
Yep.
So, and
Action.
then
Here we go. Let's
it's
go.
making that positive aspect to Saturn, right? Which has been kind of getting opposed up until now. So it's like you
Oh,
saw it from your value perspective, and now it's like, here's that motivation. Like, you know what you value, you know what you need to do, you know what your responsibilities are. Fucking do it.
yes. Good.
All right. So Thursday, October 12th, moon is still in Virgo, and now it's opposing Neptune. And then later on, it'll trine Pluto and it'll enter Libra in the evening. So on Thursday, we're just mainly talking about some moon stuff. So as it enters the end of Virgo, we're feeling out these organization things that we want to take action on, and then it's going to kind of like oppose our spiritual beliefs again, like maybe kind of giving you another little filter to put things through. Like, is this going to help me stay connected with spirit? Is this going to help me stay in alignment with spirit? Like, yeah, it's all good to have a practical plan, but you need to have a good balance of like how much you're going to plan and take action on versus how much you're going to trust in the universe.
Yes.
And then that trine to Pluto again, transformation. Too, a big part of this, I think, is like, as the societal structures are crumbling all around us, this pressure, this transformation going on within us individually is like, hey, you get to decide what we're going to rebuild. Like, let's just say that we don't need to sit around and be worried that the apocalypse is coming anymore. Let's say as soon as Pluto entered Capricorn, that was the fucking apocalypse. We're almost done with the apocalypse now. So what are you going to do? Like, what do you want to see in the utopia new world, and how can you show up from that place instead of showing up from the world's ending and everything, like it's been like tower moment all over the world, right?
Yeah.
But
Especially since the
tower moment
pandemic.
Yeah, but tower moment is good. Tower moment means that
Yes.
shit wasn't built good. That's why it's
Yep.
falling.
Yep.
So like, how are you going to
What's
build
left?
something? Yeah. Yeah.
What's left is human connection, not fucking money stuff. It's gonna be a lot. This is gonna be crazy. I'm excited to see.
The evening, moon enters Libra, And then we're going to be feeling all of that again. And we're getting closer now to the new moon solar eclipse. So we'll just keep scooting on by that. And Friday, moon is still in Libra, and it's going to conjunct Mercury in its opposition to Chiron. So this is that say what needs to be said. Don't be afraid to be yourself. Don't let your identity wounds hold you back from saying what needs to be said. This would be like that, you know, you really want to do something or you really want to say something. I mean, and in the past you have suffered some kind of consequence from that. Maybe you were made fun of, maybe you were ostracized, maybe you were embarrassed, maybe someone told you that you shouldn't say that, like whatever it might be. We're looking at that and saying like, no, it needs to be said. I'm not letting all this shit hold me back.
And that was Chiron what?
So that's Mercury and the moon together opposing Chiron in Aries. And then let's just get into Saturday, because Saturday's the big day.
That's October. Wait, pause for 1 second. That's Friday the 13th, guys. Friday the 13th. And we are going to have the moon and Mercury wanting to say some shit. So just be careful.
Especially now that Mars is out of Libra. It's like you want to say all the shit you realize while Mars was in Libra, right? Like Mars in Libra, so you kind of noticing like this pisses me off and that pisses me off and this fucking person needs to fuck off and you know what I mean? You're like doing that and then like, yeah, then it kind of makes this shift and it's like, fuck off. Like you actually say it. So, so yeah, for sure. Watch out for that. You know, Friday is also Freya's day. Doesn't Friday the 13th have a lot to do with Freya? Yeah.
Yep.
So it's like more divine feminine energy, more, you know, stepping Libra. Into our power. Yeah.
Venus.
And I want to say too, and I'm going to get into this anyway as we go into Saturday. I want to say too, when it comes to Libra balance, a lot of people, I think about balance in a very surface level way. I'm a Libra rising, so I think I like, you know how we joke about these men on TikTok always thinking about the Roman Empire. My Roman Empire is balance. Like I'm always thinking about balance, you know, like whatever your rising sign is kind of sets up the tone for all your houses, all of your like your whole chart, right? So like in all these areas of life within my houses, I'm always thinking like, how can I get more balance here? And when you think of balance, if you think of it in like a more simplistic way of like, I guess maybe just like all or nothing or black and white thinking of like, this feels unbalanced, goodbye. This feels balanced, hello. Like, or like thinking of it as like, I need more hours of sleep, or I mean, and it could be things that are that simple and not practical. But I guess when we look at, let's look at the balance of the universe, you know, like the fact that the planets stay in such perfect balance of gravitational pull towards each other to where if it wasn't like that, if one planet went out of alignment, the whole fucking solar system would collapse. Let's think about the balance of the earth, like how there has to be just enough energy to go around, just enough nutrients to be shared between different species. As we breathe out, the plants breathe in, you know, like there's this divine balance within everything. And if you can kind of take a moment to really appreciate that, it helps you realize that like it helps you realize the beauty of everything. Like even though shit, because even like let's say in politics, like we really don't want to look at the balance there, but like Pluto through Capricorn, you know, it's tower momenting these old structures to put things back into balance again. You know, it's all balance. This feminine energy rising up. That's because it has been suppressed for far too long by masculine energy. And the universe knows it needs to balance back out. So don't feel like this is like all on your shoulders. First of all, like to me, this is something that really helps me to trust in the universe of like, I'm doing the best I can. I know when I'm being called on, the universe has got this. Look at this fucking balancing game that this thing is playing. I can trust in that, you know? Like that's a miracle. It's all a miracle. It really is, all of it. So with that being said, when you think to this more intricate balance of your own life, and as we're shedding this shit, the unhealthy balance of Libra is when you take yourself out of the equation to balance the environment. So that could be like there's some tension building between you and another person. What really needs to happen to bring this back into balance is you really need to say how you fucking feel. You really need to confront this situation. But if you don't do that, then you might regain that balance in your environment, meaning A, no one screams at you, B, you don't get into a fight, C, you don't have to face that uncomfortable feeling or that awkwardness of saying what needs to be said. But then at the same time, you're creating more imbalance within you. And when things are out of balance, that's like chaos, that's when you get sick. That's when you get, mutations occurring. That's when you get, like, even if you think about like these wars that have happened in the past, like this evil was spreading and taking over the balance, making the world sick. Something had to happen. Some kind of big move had to be played out to bring it all back into balance again. And I think that these eclipses are like doing that in the greater world. So how can you also be doing that in your inner world?
Yeah.
So this new moon solar eclipse in Libra happens at 12:54 p.m. Central Time on Saturday, October 14th. It's only a few degrees away from the nodes. So, and it's on the south node. So this is a major release, major shedding, but it's also a new moon. So it's also intentions. It's also manifesting. It's also looking forward. And all of this is going on in gate 32. So like it's happening close enough to the south node to be in the same gate, but in different lines. So where the solar eclipse is happening is in line 1, which means that we're really learning and understanding the message of this gate. And we're also only like taking practical advice to get us to that level of understanding. So like, I guess I don't know how else to explain that. Yeah, we're not fucking around anymore.
With like people wasting our time. People, yeah, I get it. It's not fucking around anymore.
Yep. And then it's in the spleen center. So this has to do with our intuitive knowing. I put down here too, like spleen is like that unexplainable voice inside of you that tells you to do it.
Okay.
And you notice how that voice, that part of you that's like, do it, and if you ignore it, it doesn't like happen again. Like it quickly goes away because it's a very in the moment. It's an in the moment knowing.
Okay.
So another like part, like as we're shedding this area of our life, there could be conditioning in the center, like especially if you have an open spleen in your chart. You might want to be like telling yourself over and over again, like, I don't take responsibility. I'm afraid to be vulnerable. That's why I'm doing this, right? Because like when you don't act on those things in the moment, like that's why I don't. Like maybe that voice inside of me goes, do it. And I'm like, ooh, but that could be a lot of responsibility. And like, ooh, but I'd have to be really vulnerable right now. Like I haven't really quite gotten my emotions under check yet. So what if I like explode on them? Or like, what if I say the wrong thing? See? And then you think yourself out of acting on those things in the moment.
So what you're saying is on this day of the new moon, we should not be making any big decisions. It's eclipse energy. It's not stable.
It's you should be in the moment. Yeah. Like, think about like, let's say a big tidal wave is coming for your town. Your body is going to say fucking run now. Like and I'm not saying it's going to be like that, but I'm just saying it's going to be kind of like that. It's like whatever the fuck starts happening that day, you really need to be in the moment and just listen to that intuition.
Okay.
So some other things about this gate. It's the instinct to adapt, change, and carry on. It's the drive to follow socially accepted behavior. Time changes, what is the norm? So like basically what I'm saying here, and I also put like status quo. So basically what I'm saying here is this intuitive knowingness in this particular gate has to do with like like kind of like, you know, how when you think of some mega wealthy people or like stock market people, right? They kind of sit and like observe like trends, you know, and that's how they kind of like have that intuitive like, oh, I'm going to bet on this because they can kind of see like this is where things are going, you know? So it's like that because it's also like tribal and like about like how you serve your community kind of thing. And I also think of like tribe as like, you know, like my family. So it would be like, oh, well, I know I want to keep my family safe and I know I want to keep my family secure. So I have to kind of like watch the trends, you know. Maybe that's also kind of like how you feel about the news. Like you're like, I gotta always watch the news so that way I know if that tidal wave's coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But then it's like, okay, but where are you putting your trust in that? You know, like you also kind of got to like observe that. Like, am I trusting the news to tell me when I need to run? Or am I trusting in my own inner knowing? Am I trusting this business coach to tell me how I need to run my business, or am I feeling it out? Like, am I going like, oh, this is what I should be doing right now? Because the thing is like we all might have like fortune telling energy about us, but we're not like, you know, like I love that when people say that to people who are psychics, or they're like, oh, if you're psychic, then like tell me how to win the lottery, you know?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't work like that. Again, it's that inner knowing in the
Mm-hmm.
moment that tells you what to do.
Excuse me. The other day we had a storm. It was Tuesday. Um, we had like a thunderstorm, whatever, and it was kind of out of nowhere. And I don't ever watch the news, and it was really weird. And I thought that it was really funny. Both of us were both like, I guess I don't have the news. Like we both we both had the realization that like, fuck, what do we do if like there's something like that? But what I was doing before was just laying in bed. I was getting ready to go to sleep. And then I let a bunch of other people, because they saw the word of my town on the news, and everyone was like, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay?" And let all of that get to my head, and I was like, "Okay, fine, I'll go downstairs." But my inner knowing, I was like, "I'm okay.
It's gonna be
Nothing
okay.
fucking
Yeah.
happened. Nothing
Yeah.
happened."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, exactly the same for me too. The only thing that was kind of making me like, was like when I actually went outside and looked at it. But
Yeah.
I kind of noticed that about like, even like that's the cool thing about human design when it talks about your environment. Like I have one that's called valleys, which they kind of describe as like sitting on the front porch. Like you basically want to like see what's going on, you know? And that's kind of what me and Danica were like going back and forth about, because Danica's like in the basement now. And my head's like, I want to be able to like look out the window and like see a
Mhm.
tornado coming at me. I don't want to sit in the basement where like, you know, like, isn't that weird how we all have
Wow.
our own little
Mhm.
ways of like keeping ourselves safe, keeping ourselves
Yep.
feeling okay?
Hmm.
So yeah, that's a really good example of this. So also too, a big part of this shedding process is that fear of failure. A lot of the times that fear of failure is also what keeps you trapped and not acting on that inner voice, that inner knowing.
Oh
So it's
my
like if you
god,
trust in
yeah.
your instincts, um like I also wrote here too, like it has the tendency to want to consider all aspects to a situation when it comes to preserving the well-being of a community. That is so Libra. Again, remember when I talked about that balance? Now let's think, how do you balance your tribe? Your friends, your family, the people you live with, maybe it's your like community or the town that you live in. Like you keep that balance by like always worrying about what's going to take it out of balance. And that can really cause you to not act on things because you don't have this trust for that magical divine balance I talked about that the universe has already got, you know, it's already got that down. All
Yeah.
you have to do is trust in it and act on it in accordance, you know?
Mhm.
That's how you create that exquisite balance. It's not something you do all by yourself. It's something you do in collaboration with spirit.
Wow, yeah.
So with that, the shadow is failure. So obviously that's what I'm meaning. We're shedding the fear of failure. That is the transformation. We're shedding the fear of failure to fully transform into this gift of the gift of this one is preservation. So it's overcoming. It's like trusting
Oh,
in that intuitive spirit connected knowing of like I can preserve, I can get through this. This is
The
all
Chariot.
happening. This is all happening for me, not happening to me, right?
Oh,
Like that kind of
wow.
comes up really strongly. And then the city word, and city is always like this state of being, like the optimal state of being. That is like, it's called veneration. And I remember I looked up the definition to this a while back, and it was like someone who's highly respected. And when I read that, it made me think like, oh, that fear of failure, there's nothing to be respected if you never take action. But like if you take action and you fail, but you preserve through those failures, and like you maybe do a little fucking around and finding out, at the end of the day, when like you've made it and you're successful, no one's gonna look at you and go like, ah, they made like 5 mistakes, so fuck that person. Like, no, they're gonna see what you created, and the mistakes are even gonna like be a part of the equation. They're gonna say,
Yeah.
this person's highly fucking respectable because they overcame everything that was thrown at them and they did it anyway. They didn't let that fear of failure keep them from following their dreams.
Hmm. That was beautiful.
Thanks. I want to read the optimal expression, and then I'll move on from that part. So the optimal expression is the awareness of what needs to be done to make a dream a manifested reality, setting the stage, preparation, being ready, the patience to trust that once the stage is set, the timing will unfold as needed to serve the highest good of all, to translate the divine inspiration into readiness.
Yeah. So it's action time. It's go time.
Okay, so also as this new moon eclipse is taking place, we also still have Mercury exactly opposite to Chiron. We've done a lot of talk about this. It goes back into that spleen. That spleen feels like unease in this situation. And when you feel uneasy, then you also feel agitated. So like see how like they go together, right? When they're in opposition.
Yeah.
Also, when you have that intuitive insight from your uneasiness, you need to be gentle with yourself, which will lead you to more intuition, more clarity. It's the ability to think clearly and make sound decisions. And where Chiron is in like the gate of shocking things, the arousing, that agitation that causes you to take initiative. Like when you described your story, like that was a situation that was kind of like, what the fuck? And it's like that shocking, like, why does this keep happening? You know? So keep an eye on that, because it's like showing you, like trust that intuition, trust that gut knowing, take initiative, do something about this, have compassion for yourself. And then Mars is still trying to Saturn as well, and this is again balancing this equilibrium that brings you more freedom. It's projected, so it's like this knowing, like you can see kind of like even with this tribal thing, it's just like this knowing of like even like about other people, like I know that this is what you should do, I know that this is where you should go, but projected means like you can't be forcing that on other people either. So like people might come up to you though and ask you, hey, where should I go? Hey, what should I do? Hey, I want to trust in your intuition. And you get to decide if you're going to like give that out or not, and be helpful or not. And then the generated part in the spleen is like that defense. So that's like that mama bear protective energy. So I think that's what it's saying. It's like you'll kind of know when to act on it. Like if somebody asks you, you'll kind of be able again to trust in that of like, does it feel uneasy and agitating, or do I feel like that inner knowing of like I need to jump in and defend this and do something about this?
It really feels like you're describing like the boy who cried wolf thing. So like it's
Ooh.
like, okay, we hear all these people all the time like whine, 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 like cry, cry, cry. But when someone actually needs help, you're just gonna know.
Thank you. That's badass. That also goes into what we were saying about the news. Like maybe there's a lot of shock effect in the news that day, a lot of like fear mongering, kind of like what happened with this stupid phone alarm thing. Like maybe there's a
God.
lot of that going on, and you have to, because again, I keep saying like all this shit in Pisces, we can't fucking trust anything. The only thing you can trust
Wow.
is yourself, your intuition, your personal connection with spirit. So it's like you might see all this shit out there on TikTok and on social media and on the news, and your friends might be calling you and everybody might be freaking out. And you have to really just say like, guys, shut the fuck up. I'll know what to do and when to do it. Like if the world's gonna end tomorrow, I'll fucking know, okay?
I'm going to bed.
Yeah. And it's also like that preparedness it talked about too. It's like some of those things help you to be more intuitive, right? Like if you already take care of some things you do have control over, and that Virgo energy might help us with this. Like if you take care of those things that you do have say over, then that helps you to be more in the moment and flow with this intuitive knowing.
Yeah.
I want to say like eliminate distractions could be a big part of this as well.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, any kind of big moon energy, especially, distractions are huge. Like, I mean, my brain is immediately going to like when I worked in, well, I could say the Humane Society or the hospice center. Like it was crazy all the time. And this isn't a full moon, but it's an eclipse, guys. Eclipse energy is eclipsing something out of your life. Uncomfortable. So,
whenever we think of solar eclipse too, this is eclipsing something related to ego, something related to the more masculine.
Yeah.
Logic, like who you think you are, what you think you logically know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's why we really keep feeling this like tug of war between masculine and feminine energies.
Oh, my chair just like gave out on me. That was so scary. Oh my God. It does that every once in a while.
Yeah, like it literally like once in a blue moon, I know it does. It just like, and it comes out of nowhere too. Is it just like how far you lean back or something?
I don't know. It's probably like how much it like wiggles out and then it's,
Then it's all at once.
Yeah.
I also just want to say too about this eclipse that like this is technically the first eclipse in the Libra
Eclipse
Aries
season.
axis. Yeah. So this is like a good little taste here, guys, of like what we have to expect for the next year and a half. Remember that setting the stage we talked about, right?
Wow.
The universe is setting the stage for this transformation and it's all for this purpose of going in a more pioneering way, doing something that has not yet been done. So we have to shed a lot of fucking shit, fear of failure, judgment, other people's expectations, societal expectations, in order to go somewhere where no one's ever been before.
That'd be uncomfy.
That's kind of something I think about a lot when I think about how we've done things in the past. Like you're like, okay, we've tried capitalism, we've tried communism, we've tried socialism. And anytime you bring up like, how about we come up with something new? Like, it's 2023. Let's come up with something new. And a lot of people come at you with like, either like, well, here's all the good things that have worked about capitalism. So that's why we should just keep doing capitalism. And then some people are like, communism? Oh my God, that's horrible. Didn't you see all the bad things that happen with communism? Like, that's horrible. But it's like, no one stops to think like, what if it's something completely new? Why does it have to be something we've already done? Why can't it be something completely new and different? That's what drives me effing crazy about everybody right now. Like, why is everybody so stubborn about not looking at how things could be new and different? That didn't work in the past. Why would we redo that then? Why, like, make America great again?
Because of their ego.
Why do we need to make it great again? Why can't we just make it better?
They're too proud of what they've built, what they've done, who they are now. All ego.
Thanks. Yep, you're right. And that's what we're finishing up here with Pluto and Capricorn. It's like that's the tower moment. Like, yeah, you built this. Thanks for that, but your time's over. It's time for change. It's time for new.
Yep.
It's time for new ideas.
Well, is it time for tarot? Because that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, actually, Wait, just real quick. The only we just finished off on Saturday. The only thing I wrote down for Sunday though is that the moon enters Scorpio and conjuncts Mars while it trines to Saturn. So just basically that after we get done with this whole Libra parade, we're going to be feeling out that Mars and Scorpio and Saturn again. So again, we're going to have this more initiative, this like little coming online, take some action. You have power, you can do this. Yeah, that's all. And I'm done.
Woo! Woo! Okay, we got the fucking death card, guys. So that's the first one. When you draw death in a reading, it implies that a great transition is taking place. This is a tremendous time of disillusion, the dissolving of your old self. This could relate to previous understandings, emotional challenges, mental blockages, or physical behaviors. As you begin to experience this change, you are invited to surrender and flow with it. And to see where the metamorphosis takes you. Death is a passage, and what awaits you on the other side is a whole new you. Okay, so then the next one I got is divination. And this is in the seasons of the witch Samhain. All right. Cards, tea leaves, coffee, clouds, candlelight, flowers. There are dozens of ways to embrace the art of divination, a practice used to seek guidance from the divine and a part of witch's toolkit for centuries. It's a beautiful practice that can help you see beyond what is immediately in front of you. It can show you hidden dangers and gifts, provide new ideas, and shut down old ones. Divination is a way to seek advice of the powers that be while also showing hidden dangers and truths. If you have pulled divination, you are being asked to explore your ability to receive guidance from the earth and the divine. Now is the time to go deeper into your practice. You must learn to trust your own ability to feel your way into messages as well as your ability to interpret them. This card also means that there is a need to take more time to reflect. It can also be easy to get lost in the day-to-day without taking time to process everything you've been through. Yup. Something as simple as pulling a single card every day, either in the morning or in the evening, can help you make sense of the events that are around you. It can help you to see things that you've overlooked or considered something that you would never have done otherwise. It says, oh man, there's a whole bunch of, okay, so there's ideas. Automatic writing, bone reading, candle reading, dreams, flower and herb divination, numerology, palmistry, runes, and scrying. So you figure out your own thing is what that's basically saying. But the next card is fucking tarot. Tarot cards.
This is crazy. This is literally like showing you what I said about that. Like your connection with spirit is your team to make these decisions, you know?
Okay, so this is the witch's wisdom. So remember, it has a little poem thing. Questions asks why, where, or what. With tarot by your side, you fear not. For guidance comes through clear and fast, revealing all that you have asked. This magic has worked with harm to none, so mote it be, there it is done. The witch's wisdom. You have been distracted lately. That important messages are passing you by. You've called upon the guidance and have yet not stopped to notice or hear the answers that it's bringing in oh so many forms. Be still, breathe, and relax as guidance coaxes you to use your magic wand and light up the dark chambers within and reveal your natural wisdom. You have all that you need as tarot takes up its sword and offers you its cup of life to quench your deep thirst for answers. As you drink of its sweet nectar, you will find all of the advice and knowledge that you need for personal growth required to carry on. Your newly found insight will expand along with the age-old wisdom of the tarot and guidance to illuminate the way. Follow and trust the messages that are revealed, for they will point you in the right direction with the pentacle to protect you. So it says this tarot reveals the answers that you are seeking. Don't be so proud to ask for help. The signs are all around you. Look for them. Learn and study the tarot. You have a natural talent for reading tarot and delivering messages. Trust in your psychic abilities. You already know the answers. Okay. So I'm starting another new thing in honor of Freya, is I'm going back to runes. So this is the rune that we got today, and it is the initiation, the Perth. It's actually supposed to be this way. Okay. All right. It says, let me just make sure that I'm reading it right. Okay. A heretic or a mystery rune pointing to that which is beyond our frail manipulative powers. This rune is on the side of heaven, the unknowable, and it has associations with the phoenix, that mystical bird which consumes itself in the fire and rises from its own ashes. Its ways are secret and hidden. Powerful forces of change are at work here, yet what is achieved is not easily or readily shared. After all, becoming whole means of it a profound secret. On the side of the earthly mundane, there may be, well, surprises. Unexpected gains are not unlikely. On the side of human nature, this rune symbolizes by the flight of the eagle, soaring flight, free from entanglement, lifting yourself above the endless ebb and flow of the ordinary life to acquire a broader vision. All of this is indicated here. This is the rune of questing. Another of the cycle of the runes, Perth stands at the heart of initiation. Nothing external matters here except that it shows you its inner reflection. The rune is concerned with the deepest stratum of being, with the bedrock on which your destiny is founded. For some, Perth means experiencing a psychic death. If need be, let go of everything. No expectations, no exclusions, nothing less than the renewal of the spirit at stake.
Yeah, guys, like, wow. Yeah. And I also noticed when you said that, by the way, the word initiation, that's the gift of where Chiron's at. The word heretic, that's the line of where the South Node is. That's what I said about practical advice, you know, like all of this shit in your head is a distraction. What can you fucking actually practically take action on? That's where Jupiter is. That's where abundance is, you know? Like, yeah, guys, like,
this book was made in 1932, but this is a new copy and it was published again in 1982. But 1932, guys.
ancient
that's so fucking cool.
Knowledge.
It's not ancient, but
no, runes are ancient as fuck in my
well,
opinion.
yes. I didn't mean 1932. That's like when my grandma, like, that's not ancient.
I get what you mean now. I get what you mean. But it's like those books written in 1932, because there's a lot of them actually that were based on very ancient knowledge. And I've thought about that actually, where I'm just like imagining like the 20s, 30s and like the swingers, you know, like aesthetic and everything. But meanwhile, there's this lady in this back room that's just like writing a book about runes. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah.
It was very it was a very occult time, I think. A lot of things done in
30s, because it's exactly what's going on right now. Whoa. So guys, this is a hard time. We're here with you. We're all struggling. Every single person that I've been talking to, everyone is like, yep, I'm sorry, it's a shit show. Oh my God, yep, can't do that. Oh, it's a shit show. Like everything. So you're not alone if you're feeling this. I just want to say that. But you are alone if you're not getting help. So you can get help. Everyone has access to it.
Up.
Yep.
No, that's perfect. I agree. That is one thing that has been super agitating again. Like you said, you know, people that keep bitching about the same thing, but they're not doing anything about it.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you for watching. We hope that this all resonates with you. And if you're looking for more, please consider booking a combined session with both of us.
If you're needing some guidance or insight in your life, booking like a sacred soul coaching session, this is going to set you in the right direction. Our years of combined experience just alone and knowledge just makes for this fucking magical journey.
It really does.
Yeah, we also offer our own individual services as well. So be sure to check out all of our links in the descriptions below.
Yeah, and support our podcast, guys. You can do that by liking, sharing, subscribing, leaving us a comment. We also have our payment links set up in our link trees that are also linked down below. So if you want to throw a donation our way so we can make this podcast better and better and better, we would also not be opposed to that, of course. And yeah, thank you guys. We also, Claire, can you talk about Awaken the Witch for a moment? And then I think that's it.
Yeah, so on October 28th, what the fuck? On October 28th, we have Awaken the Witch Festival. This is an event where a bunch of local area healers, magical humans are all going to be. It is very women focused, and men are welcome. Oh my God, yes, anybody is welcome. But this is going to be a safe place for everyone to try out different things that they feel like they've wanted to learn about. We're gonna be offering a gallery reading at the end of the night, and you have the opportunity to get a VIP ticket to like check that out also. There's a full moon ritual that we're going to be doing. It's going to be fucking cool because we're going to be in the most beautiful setting in the world. Not the world, but very in Nebraska, probably. Well, around here for sure.
No, it's really, really, really
so
beautiful out there. We should probably actually post more videos again.
Well, that's
of the
yes,
land.
I was gonna be making a picture or a thing. I'm gonna be making a thing for that. Whatever. Anyways, it's amazing. It's gonna be a great day. Rain or shine. Come hang out with some witches, be witchy, allow yourself to explore and get lit up and understand yourself a little bit more. That's the asking for help.
Beautiful. And I just want to add two things to that real quick. One, we are obviously open to men coming. I just want to also say that if you are a man coming to this event, just realize that you're coming to support divine feminine energy, because that is what we're focusing on. So like, again, nut up or shut up, right? Get the fuck out if you're there to just make fun of us. Like, that's not what it's for. Secondly, boo. Secondly, if you are, curious about what Claire and I do, you have the chance to come to this event and get a super VIP ticket and get a reading with us. There's only one of those tickets left. So again, nut up or shut up, right? No, I'm just kidding. Like, but for real, like there's only one ticket left. So if you want the perfect opportunity to meet us, get a reading with us, like kind of like, see what it is that we do. Yeah, so this is for the private reading, correct? But it includes everything else. So then you're getting admission, you get access to all the vendors, you get access to the VIP section event, you get a goodie bag with stuff in it. Like, can't get better than that.
Swag bag.
Whoop that up before it goes by.
Also we need to say that this is pre-sale only. We haven't been publicizing that, promoting, I don't know. But the day of, we're not just gonna let anybody in. And if we run out of tickets, we run out of tickets. So if you want to get a fucking ticket, get it now. Okay, the only other thing that I have coming up to say for announcements for Clairvoyant is on Friday the 13th, I will be on Spicoli's podcast. And that is The Good Life. So check that out. I just think it's called The Good Life Podcast. Let me just make 100% sure. Yep, that's what it's called. With Spicoli and DT. So on Friday the 13th, that gets launched off. So be sure to listen because it's a bunch of broy dudes, and I'm gonna be in there shining my girliness.
Love it. I'm so excited for that. Okay, I actually do have one more thing. I'm sorry, guys. Also, for me, on my own thing, since Claire just so kindly reminded me about that, I have a new moon workshop coming up at Wild Red Yoga in Lincoln on the actual day of the new moon. The new moon solar eclipse. So that's this Saturday from 1 to 3 at Wild Red Yoga in Lincoln. and we're going to be like really diving deep into all this stuff that I just talked about. And like, I am going to be giving you a practical, you know, thing to like, here's what you can practically do to help make the most out of this energy. And Brianna is literally getting your body moving and like doing some like, you know, yoga, this like focused intention setting. It's really cool when it all comes together. So yeah, come check that out as well.
Yeah.
You can find that on my page.
Yep.
I share
Erika
it.
Lane.
So yeah.
Yeah. We love you guys. Thank you for listening. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, sharing, all of those things that you're supposed to say. And we'll check you next week.
Bye.